Welcome to In Her Words. This podcast is for women navigating through change, career, identity, motherhood, and just figuring out what's next. I'm Roberta Dombrowski, host of In Her Words and founder of Learn Mindfully. Each episode, I sit down with women who are asking big questions, navigating transitions, and trying to make sense of life as it shifts. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just need space to be real. Let's get into it. Welcome back to another episode of In Her Words. I'm Roberta, founder of Learn Mindfully. In this episode, I brought my good friend, Megan Reese, to have a conversation with the community. Megan is a therapist, coach, and corporate consultant who has spent the last 20 years helping people show up more fully in their work and lives. This is a recording from a webinar that we hosted last week. And in it, we talk all about the ways people often play small in their careers and lives. We discuss societal conditioning, workplace dynamics, imposter syndrome, and strategies for reclaiming confidence and authenticity. We also answer questions that people submitted ahead of time and asked during the call. If you want to join live for some more upcoming events, visit learnmindfully.co/events to sign up. Thanks so much, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. All right. Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited for you all to be here today. Today's conversation is going to be focused on you've been playing small and it wasn't an accident. And so the rundown for today is we're going to introduce ourselves, share a little bit about our background. We have some pre-canned questions that we put together. We also got questions from the signups. And then we're going to open it up to everyone as well. For those who don't know me, my name is Roberta. I am the founder and coach at Learn Mindfully. Learn Mindfully is a coaching and consulting company. It's really dedicated to helping people design work that feels good. It really honors who they are and not just what they can do. And it was really born out of my own experience with burnout, workplace burnout a few years ago, made it all the way to executive level and just didn't find it energizing anymore. And so over the last 5 years, I've been helping people really design things that honors who they are, whether it's full-time work, solopreneurship, portfolio path, really. It's all for fun. It's all making sure that it honors you. So I will pass it off to Megan and let her introduce herself.
My name is Megan Reese, and I am a therapist, a licensed counselor, and also a coach. I do some corporate consulting around psychological safety and neuro-affirming workspaces because I don't think that work should suck the life out of people. I think that what you do with your time on the planet should be meaningful and enjoyable as much as possible. So I do coach people similar to Roberta at kind of people who've decided they want to reclaim their time and their energy. So sometimes that means staying in a job and trying to set boundaries with it. And sometimes that means pivoting to something new or some combination.
Very cool. Preach, preach, preach. I'm so excited to dive in with you today. So today's topic is all about playing small. And it's something that I see come up with a lot of coaching clients. And I know Megan also sees it with many of her clients as well. And so I'd love to kind of start by just naming, what does that actually look like? How does it actually show up for people that we work with? Megan, did you want to kick us off, or I'm happy to start too? Yeah.
I'm like, I should be paying attention to my notes because I took notes, and I might be jumping the shark or whatever
That's okay.
phrase is. But I sometimes get people come to me because they've gotten feedback that they need to have like executive presence. So there's that whole thing, which I think we're going to talk about in another question because I have lots of feelings about that.
Yes.
And then there's the other, I just finished the Nagoski's Burnout book, if y'all have read that book, and they call it the human giver syndrome. And I really like that as a way to frame that some of us were sort of socialized to take care of everyone else's needs first. So I see a lot of that. And I think in my generation, like I was sort of like taught to just, behave and do the right thing and like keep progressing in my career. And no one ever asked me like what I wanted out of my career or if it was working for me or how they could help me get to that next phase. So I'm not sure if I'm answering the question, but what I
You
do
are.
see,
Yeah.
okay, all right. I just finished
Absolutely.
my coffee, so yeah.
I have my tea here too. So, yeah, pretty similar. I feel like the patterns that I often hear from people is one is the executive presence, which we will go in deeper because I have strong thoughts on that too. Um, I also hear it in like, I'll hear things like, oh, now is not the right time for doing XYZ. The market is not good. Who am I to go out looking for a job when there's so many people who have been laid off? And it's just like it's like an inner saboteur sabotaging yourself when it's like, why not now? Just because somebody else is laid off doesn't mean that you can't find the right fit for you or start looking for you as well. It's also could be not applying for things. We know that women historically usually they need to feel that they meet 100% of the job qualifications before they actually apply. And so it's very common that they're not applying, they're not raising their hand for opportunities. It's having the ideas, but not necessarily having the confidence to speak those ideas to others. So it can manifest in a lot of different ways depending on where you are and where you're coming from, for sure. I'm wondering from your perspective, Megan, are there specific conditions, environments, mechanisms that actually teach people how to shrink?
Ooh. I was just thinking recently about what I see and what I have seen in tech and what I've experienced in tech about what gets rewarded and what doesn't. And I think that there's this bias towards execution or like delivery of stuff that sometimes um, is supersedes process. And so I think if you're someone who is a team player who likes to make sure that the whole team is working towards something and everyone's okay on the team, and I think that does not get rewarded. And I think
Mhm.
like sort of that more cutthroat thing does. So I think that can be antithetical to like how some of us want to be in the world, which is really hard. Thoughts.
It's an interesting time for this question right now because I'm actually starting summer classes. I think I shared with you, Megan, offline that I'm taking a class called The Psychology of Power and Oppression. And so, very much related. I think that our workplaces like design people to shrink and to be controlled and to not have autonomy and to perform. And it's all about capitalism and outcome and profit and stuff like that. And so, with regards to that, what happens is that a lot of individuals are rewarded by being easy to work with. They get the promotion, they put in the long hours, they're seen as being attentive, responsible, all of that. And so, like Megan was saying, like the helper syndrome is basically being rewarded. And on the flip side of that, you are punished for self advocating, for speaking up, for naming things in the system that are broken. Maybe you do speak up and you see others getting laid off or fired or whatever for speaking up, that impacts you, that makes you more susceptible to remaining silent, and like the system is operating as intended and it stays status quo. And so what I think happens is all of these things compound over time and these symptoms and signals start to add up, and then it ends up influencing your body, how you're feeling at work. You end up experiencing burnout. You don't know how long these things are going to continue. And so I think that each workplace is different. There are many clients I work with who experience great workplaces, but many of them are not designed with the people in mind. It's designed around profit first, and we're seen as like resources, unfortunately. And so, really, my aim when I work with people is empowering them to speak up for themselves and identify what they really want, because it might also be in conflict with what the workplace and the environment wants for you as well.
Yeah, that last bit, and I think there was questions that came from people who registered that I really wanted to speak on the sort of figuring out what your beacon is. And
Hmm.
you just said it, Roberta. I'm glad we're going there because like let's really go there. If we're just treated as like as resources and we're just part of the commodity of the employer, then why are we treating not treating the employer the same way? Why aren't
Yeah.
we looking at this job as like, what can I get from this job that's going to impact my life and my career trajectory, right? Like,
Yeah.
and one thing I like to do is help like people who have to stay in their role for whatever reason, or like, like this, that's just what makes
Yep.
sense for them in the moment. Like, what is it you can get from this place? How can you suck this place dry? Because they're going to try to suck you dry.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think a huge part of that is boundaries design. Or even like usually when I start working with clients, the first thing I do is we explore their relationship with work in the first place because we often don't think about that, how we want work to show up for us. And then from there, designing things around it like boundaries and all of that. So you have the structure in place to make it look the way that you want it to rather than how the workplace wants you to. So, yeah,
Boundaries, and also what resources are available that you're not even thinking about or
correct.
tapping into.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, we're ready for the hot topic now. So, playing small is usually a common thing that we hear is that it's a confidence problem. Hey, you just need to speak up more. You need to take up more space. You need to negotiate better, have more executive presence. What is wrong with that framing from your perspective?
Everything. Whenever I hear executive presence, I basically believe that it is like cis het white male coded. Like the
Hmm.
request is for you to be more cis het white male. And it drives me bonkers and up the wall. I've had people come to me, I think I mentioned this earlier. They've come to me because they've gotten feedback that they need to be more, have more executive presence. And I am never, ever going to teach a woman how to be more aggressive in the workplace. What I am going to work with her on is how she can feel okay in those moments and how she can work with her self doubt and whatever's coming up for her, and how she can be
Hmm.
honest with what's in her body and make sure her nervous system is regulated as much as possible when she is called to
Yeah.
react in some of these moments. Um, yeah, I mean, I think about this team I was on where there were a lot of us who are really loud and we are like always sharing our ideas and whatever. And we had one member who would just once in a while slide in very quietly one thought, and it was just the thing that unlocked everything.
Mm.
And I always think like this was somebody everybody respected, but they also um she wouldn't have been looked at for like to lead the whole group because she was quieter and didn't talk as much as everybody else, but when she did talk everyone listened. And so I think
Mhm.
I want to see more of that as being what executive presence is, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
what would it
yeah.
look like if we turned that on its head and executive presence was actually listening and being able to say the things that aren't named when it's the right thing to do and when no one else will.
Yeah, yeah. That resonates a lot, especially as a leader who is more introverted. Um, what I think really helps is really working with people and identify what motivates them and like how do they want to show up at work too. Because when executives are saying like, hey, you need to be more confident or you need to do this, they're treating the symptom. They're telling you the behavior they want you to change, but they're not actually telling you like what's the root cause? What's the purpose of this? And a lot of us are designers, like we're designing things, we're designing experiences, all of that. How do you want to show up for yourself? What do you want to design for your workplace? And for me, like, I'm sorry, I don't want to be like Elon Musk. I don't want to be like a lot of those like tech guru leaders, but I want to lead in a way that feels really authentic and sustainable for me. And so, what does that look like tangibly, etc.? And so, like, I feel like I just have a strong believer that nobody should be able to tell you what your leadership style should look like. Only you can define it. yes, they can give you recommendations and feedback about how it's like what the outcomes are at work, but you want to feel good about the way that you're showing up at work as well. So it's really like if somebody gives you that like feedback like hey be more confident, I think my recommendation is to get curious with them of like being like well explain to me what exactly are you looking for, what's the purpose here, so that you can investigate it a little bit more and then figure out what works best for you. So
Yeah, and just to like, add to that, when someone tells you to be more confident, and then there's like this like scrutiny around that, then
yes,
how is that supposed to inspire confidence? Like, then you have
exactly.
this negative association with how you're showing up at work, and then you become more self-conscious, and then you appear less confident.
Yeah,
So, to add everything you just said, also, I'm helping people work with their nervous systems because when they're like getting this harsh
yeah,
feedback or like being, monitored in that way, that's really antithetical to them showing up in a way that feels grounded and
yeah,
confident.
absolutely. Yeah, and it could be gaslighting too. It could be corporate gaslighting that's going on where it's an intentional behavior that a leader or a manager is doing to kind of undermine and put the insecurities within your head. So, it's always great to have a coach or somebody, some trusted advisor that you can have these conversations with. So you can have like that gut check of like, am I going crazy or is this what's happening? And you can have a dialogue about it a little bit more. So,
And I know I wanted to like see if I could throw in a little bit of like ADHD chat into
yeah,
this.
yeah.
But one thing I've learned about my own sort of sparkly brain is that I sometimes see things way down the road. Like I see red flags way before anyone else does. And so sometimes raising those when people don't want to look at them has got
Mm-hmm.
me in trouble at work. So then then the gaslighting starts. It's like, is it really about you not being confident enough? Or is it about the leader who's giving you that feedback being really insecure because you say
Yeah,
things that are really smart?
yeah, 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 absolutely. I always say sometimes feedback is like a confession on the other person about what they're fearful of or insecure of. So.
Love that. I'm stealing that.
In one of the sign up submissions, we did have a question from a few people actually who said, like, I'd love to work for myself. It's something I'm really passionate about, but I have some fears around things like health insurance, premiums. Like, I have a family, there's just other considerations. Megan, I'm curious your perspective on that. How can people kind of balance going after their dreams and what they're excited about, but then the realities of family and other responsibilities as well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. This is hard. Like, and I fully
Yeah.
want to hear you. Um, Yes, I think it really depends on what it is you're trying to do. There are people who could quit their job tomorrow and their skills are so valuable and so marketable and companies know that they need them and so it could be a really easy jump to the next thing. So it really depends. But I would say that if you yes, we're living in a world where our government doesn't believe everyone should have health insurance, so everything's running amok in that. So I don't want to I don't want to downplay that. But what would it look like for you to start building a little fund? Like maybe you have like a little secret, savings account that you just start throwing money in whenever you can, and knowing every time you populate it, even if it's $1, you have a little mantra or something that reminds you that you're building something else. Like you're
Mm-hmm.
working towards a world in which you get to run
Yeah.
your company, your business yourself. Um, and if you're in a job that you're not that happy. I said this already, but what are all the things you can get from this job before you go? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had seen the writing on the wall of the last layoff coming. I would have probably gotten some certifications before I left, or
Mm.
some people can use professional development funds towards coaching, start the
Yep.
coaching now. while you can. So um, I I I I understand that it's hard, and I think there are lots of things that you can do that are in preparation for the day when you could leave. And
Yep.
every time you move towards that, it will make your feeling about your day job a little better because in your
Yeah.
mind, you're like, I'm building towards something else. This is
Yeah.
just the means to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. It shifts the autonomy back onto you. And so when I work with folks, I often will co-create their exit plan for them. So what's the vision that you're looking for? And then when are you looking to get out of there? Like if you have a full-time job and you want to leave, it's causing health impact, whatever it might be. But identifying like what's your number of savings, and some of that is like actually going through your bills and calculating your expenses and stuff like that. And then it's also just saying like, what can your nervous system handle like post leaving the job too? Because fears will come up, they always do. And so, how will you feel confident? What's your plan and to navigate that as well? So that's something that I intentionally do with folks. That's really helpful for them. And then I also like this is a spot that I'm in, right? I left my full-time job. I was 10 weeks pregnant. I had a baby on the way. Now I have my practice. My son's 16 months old and I'm in grad school and I run my own business. So I understand. Some of it might also be conversations that you have with your partner if you have one, if you're able to get on like their insurance or something like that. But there are tools out there that can help you if you are choosing solopreneurship and you're looking for things like health insurance or benefits or anything like that. So I encourage people not to think of it as a black and white picture of like, oh, I'm working for someone else or I'm working for me. But is there some gray in there? Can we design what type of support you need, what the benefits might be as well? But yeah, if you're looking to chat more about this, feel free to reach out to us. Happy to talk about that and what a plan might be for you as well. So. There is another question that we got in the pre-submissions. One was, what are some daily practices if you have a normal life and chores, but you want to do your dream thing? I will answer this first because it resonates a lot. Um, for me, this has been like a 5 year journey of like this. I'm always a big picture thinker, have the dream, and then slowly kind of chugging along. For me, a lot of it is about boundaries. So, boundaries with myself, setting clear guidelines of like, here's what my day looks like. So, I actually have a master schedule template. It's like with Excel, it's color coded. I like highlight what my free time is, what my time to like do things looks like, time with my family. And I prioritize all of that first. And it's a container for myself so I can honor it that way. So that's really helpful for setting structure. And then I always try to keep my self-care time too, because that's what's going to give me the energy when I have so much, when I'm juggling my dream and, you know, my my just daily like baby, all that stuff. I'm a wife, I'm a mom. So that's really helpful for me. But I think it's designing what are the care rituals that you need for yourself and this type of support that you need. And also knowing that you don't have to be 100% all in on your dream all the time. What does sustainability look like for you while you're building the thing? It could be a few hours a week, 2 hours a week, it could be 1 hour a week. But every time you're taking an action, it's slowly moving you forward towards what you're looking to do. So, yeah, that's just what worked for me. But Megan, I'm curious for you.
I have some yeah, so everything you said. And then I think this question came up from somebody who was saying that they're exhausted by the job search. So I want to
Mm-hmm.
like touch on that a little bit. So we have a couple of you in here who are in the job search. And I read exhaustive day of job searching and my gut reaction was like, does anybody have to be spending all day doing job
Yeah.
search? And I really wanted to get your perspective on that, Roberta, because I think you have more concrete job search coaching experience. But I think like that nobody should be doing that full time, and nobody, and I think sometimes you're like, what, but I have to, I might miss out on something. I think that there has to be a certain point in your day where the productivity of doing that much job search starts to drop off because you're tired, you're cranky, or whatever.
Yep.
Oh, I know, Fiorella. Yeah, it sounds terrible. I also think there's probably some other strategies that are more fun than what you might be doing. But if you ever find yourself in a good mood, um, I encourage you to make a list of all the things that you can do when you're not working full time. So this is if you're in a job and
Love it.
you could be laid off tomorrow, or you could be leaving to do your own thing, or you're in the job search. Make that list. I mean, like, what is it like going to the museum, going to a
Hmm.
matinee in the middle of the week, or a midday hike, or whatever that is? Like, make a list, or just like bake, learning how to bake croissants. Because I think sometimes we wake up and there's this panic of like, oh my God, I have to get a job and I have to do everything all day, every day to get that job.
Hmm.
And I want to remind you that this moment we're in is not your forever. It's a small blip on the radar of your life and your career. You will come out the other side. And in the meantime, why not enjoy some of the free time? Why not sort of like come back into your body and reconnect to your joy and reconnect to the things that make you a human being? I think that when we are tired and disconnected from our hobbies and our passions and the people that we love, that only serves capitalism. It only serves the 1% for us to be tired and drained and disconnected. So don't forget to do the things that you love, to enjoy those moments of free time, to allow yourself to dream. Like, you need some just unstructured dream time,
Yeah.
imagine and fantasy and all of that stuff. If you have a creative thing that you do, please do your create whatever that is, your art, your music, your whatever, your writing. So I just wanted to make sure that people prioritize the things that mean something to them. Roberta shared like her
Yeah.
family and life and all. What, make sure to prioritize those things
Yeah.
so that you pay yourself first. I like to think of it as paying yourself first, right? Like, when
Yeah.
I'm in good writing practice, that's the first thing I do in the morning before I do anything else, before any other meetings, before anything else, because I am a writer and I must be writing.
Yeah.
So I wanted to just throw that out there too.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, absolutely. I help a lot of people through career transitions. So, one of the things that I usually recommend after it happens, one is just feel it. Like if it was a layoff, you're going through a career transition, just there's a lot of emotions that get pent up. So give yourself a few days to at least process that. Then the next thing is usually designing what is your master schedule. So if you have a look at your week, what do you want it to look like energetically? What is the time for you? And then the time that you might dedicate to this search. I know some people who do it every day at the same time. I have some clients who are like, nope, Tuesdays, Thursdays, those are my days to job search. I do it for an hour or whatever it might be. But I always recommend like having some sort of structure because what happens when you are underemployed, unemployed, going through a layoff career transition is that your structure of the way that your days used to look like essentially gets obliterated. And it can be very disorienting. You can start to question yourself with that much space, and you're like, what am I doing? Like, there's like this pressure that comes, like, I want to make sure I'm using my time effectively. And people either, it's like your nervous system will get hyper aroused and you just go, 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 you're applying, 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 or you get under aroused, which is like work, no motivation to apply, no nothing. And so having some sort of schedule is really great to just kind of ground you. And you can always shift it based on how you feel each day. But that's just one of the things that I typically will recommend to people. And when we're talking about the schedule, it really is your form of boundaries. You're saying this is the time for me to do this action. And then I also recommend people get outside. Like career transitions can, depending on how it happened, there can be shame related to it. And so we tend to isolate and really like just disconnect from others. And so go outside, get in the sun, feel the wind on your skin, Like it's just, yeah, exercise, as Manhavi says. Like there's so much. Go for a walk. It can be absolutely so energizing. I remember a few years ago during a layoff, I did Zumba classes and it was like the best thing ever. So it may look different according to what gives you energy.
Can
But
I
yeah.
just like, yeah, I want to like just button that up one more time.
Yeah.
You absolutely like, what would it be like if you use this time to make the care of your body the most important thing you do? Like, what would it look like if you just said, the most important thing I'm going to do right now is take care of my mind, my body, my spirit? So,
Mm-hmm.
and regular moving your body and like getting your heart rate up, whatever that looks like for you, is the most productive thing you can do. Like, if you get like stuck and you're like resume, blah, 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 and
Yeah.
like you get all stuck up here, like, and you go and you dance it out or take a walk or whatever, you notice that you're a little bit clearer. You like your brain literally needs that. So what would it be like if you just said right now, I am the most important thing?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Um, so with that, those were like the initial questions that we had. We have an awesome audience here. And so if you have specific questions for us, please feel free. You can unmute yourself or send them in the chat, and we are more than happy to answer them as well. So, and then we have a question from Jonna in the chat. Can you speak a bit on overcoming imposter syndrome as a blocker to going after your dreams? Megan, did you want to take this one first?
Ooh. I mean, I feel like this is often like the core of what I do with coaching clients and with therapy clients. So, there's not going to be a quick answer that I can give you,
Mhm.
except to say like, what would happen if you just went for it? Like, can you imagine like a middle class cis white dude having the same question about like what should I, could I, would I, right? Like, what would happen if you just went for it? And the sort of inner critic that comes up, like often there's really good information it's trying to protect you. It's trying to prepare you. So, maybe there are nuggets that it has for you, but that doesn't, but if you can learn to work with it, which is a lot of what I do with clients, then you can learn to let it inform you as like one of the consultants on your team, but it doesn't get to take over. It doesn't get to like take the wheel, right?
Mhm.
So, what would happen if you just started going down the road? Like failure is actually kind of part of the package, right?
Mhm.
Like it fail, I don't mean like you fail and you give up and you fall over and that's it. But like if I had a list of all the little mini failures I've had on my route to building my business, like y'all would be like, oh, like it is
Yeah.
absolutely an everyday part of what you do. So I start thinking, and I do this with ADHD clients. I start thinking about things like experiments, right? Like what would happen if I just had, tried this one little part of this, or like I just like explored this a little bit, and then whatever
Mhm.
comes out of it, I get to tweak it for the next time I run the experiment. I mean,
Yep.
scientists are really always trying to prove themselves wrong. So why not go for an experiment, and then you can tell your inner critic or your imposter, judge or whatever, like, okay, I tried that. That didn't work. I'm going to tweak it for the next time.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Very similar to what Megan said. I work a lot with clients to listen to the story and the fear, because usually with imposter syndrome, there's a signal there. Sometimes it's like, hey, I feel like I don't have enough skills. So that's a signal. Okay, if that's the case, where can you take a class or upgrade your skills so that you feel better about it? There's also other things like, oh, I won't have enough time. Maybe that's another thing. Okay, how do we schedule in the time for you? So it's really like getting curious and investigating what that voice is trying to tell you about the imposter syndrome, because there's usually something deeper there. And then looking for evidence. Is that true? Is it not true? Has it happened before? How have you gotten past challenges in the past? Are you going to be able to do it now? But it is very real, and it is something that I hear from a lot of clients as well. And so, experimental approach is huge. What's the smallest action that you might be able to take in the direction that you're hoping to go towards? I do it all the time with my business when I'm working on new directions and stuff like that. And I also love what Megan said about failure. And it's something that is really top of mind. I have a 16-month-old right now. My son is walking, but when he started to take his first steps, right, he would walk across the room, shake, fall down, and then get right back up. And so that's been really beautiful to see, just like resilience in a different way from someone so young. And I feel like as we age, we lose part of that. And so I've been learning a lot by just watching him and like even kind of applying some of the lessons to myself and my business as well. So, yeah.
I mean, it's so wild. Like all the artists in the room, you know that like failure is part of the creative process, or
Hmm.
like, not getting it right the first time. That's part of the process. And then you like get to co-create, right? So, there's something else you said that was, I have this exercise I do in my self-promotion workshop. If I were to ask you all to start just dreaming up, who besides you would benefit from you fulfilling your dreams? And just spend some time like sort of brainstorming, because this isn't just about you. You fulfilling your dreams benefits everyone around you. It benefits the people in your life. It benefits the strangers you encounter in the world when you're just in a better frame of mind. It benefits the world. I mean, some of you have some gifts that we need right now. Like, don't be
Hmm.
stingy with your gifts. We need them. And
Yeah.
we need women, we need people of color, we need queer folks, we need trans, we need all of those people to be thriving, because that is
Hmm.
exactly what capitalism doesn't want.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. We did get a question in from Chennai. So, as a business owner, how do you juggle debt like school loans and starting your own business? Something I am deeply in right now because I just went back to grad school earlier this year. So, taking out things like student loans, I have my business, car, house, baby, all of those things. Um, for me, it was looking at the finances of things. I am of a certain age, and so I have 20, 30 years left of my career. And so, how do I want to spend that time? Do I want to spend it in corporate where I'm getting the life drained out of me? Or what do I want it to look like? And then I made the decision, if I'm taking some school loans to pay this off, that's okay. I have enough time where I will be able to pay those off. I'm not doing a PhD program or anything like that, but master's program, it does have some cost involved, but being able to chart out like what would payments look like if I did this as well. There are things like grants too. So if you are in school right now or you have school loans or even a business loan, there's tons of business grants, especially if you're a business owner, women, minority owned business, or anything like that. You can register for the Small Business Administration. You can get women owned business certification, and they will actually give you things like referrals and grants for your business that you can apply for as well. So it does take some of the heat off of it. But I recommend, if it's something that you're thinking about, it could be reaching out to a business coach, reaching out to a coach, somebody who's been there before. A lot of us who end up becoming business owners love to help other people grow their businesses as well. So I would say it's always getting curious about it. If it is the finances that are the concern, let's dig into it. What does it look like? What might it look like? And coming up with a plan there as well. So, Megan, did you have anything to add on this topic?
Man, I mean, yeah, this is the thing, right? I would say so. Roberta mentioned the Small Business Administration. That's a national organ arm of the, I don't know how to start.
Yeah.
But anyway, there should be a local branch of that in your town or
Correct.
your county. So look for that. When I first started, I did a course I don't know how helpful it was, but I did learn some things, right? But there are resources out there. So look into that. By the way, the library is really great, y'all. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know about the library where you are, but I just had to do something where I had to get something notarized, and I found out that the library does free notary services like 1 day a week. So just anyway, there's a lot of great stuff there. Juggle, that's a really interesting word. I feel like I'm constantly juggling. But listen, when I first started out, this chapter of owning a business, it was a surprise layoff, and there were moments when I was on food stamps. There was moments when I put my loans into forbearance. There's been a lot of like fun things that I've done because I've decided like I don't want to ever work for a company again. I can't. Like I'm too cynical about companies. I can't do it. I'm a terrible employee. I'm always going to raise a red flag when I am worried about how things are going to impact people. That's just, I'm sorry,
Yep.
that's my toxic trait. So uh, all that to say, like I made that decision and I had to get weird and resourceful, and I did. I got weird and resourceful and bit by bit, and I did everything on a shoestring budget. Like my friend and I made
Mhm.
my therapy website myself. I'm now learning all the things I didn't know about SEO then, and I'm doing that all myself. I mean, my marketing
Yep.
budget is zero, and I still get clients, so I'm doing something right.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. We do have to start to transition for today's session. It's been absolutely lovely to connect with all of you. If you want to stay connected with us, this is the first of many events this summer that I have designed. So the next one is on July 20th with Dr. Kimberly Murray. I did drop a link in the chat. And then if you're looking for support this summer, I have a summer sale going on for Spark sessions. There's 10% off. And I'll be sending a follow up with all the information as well. Megan, how can folks stay connected to you?
Yeah, I'm just dropping my LinkedIn in the chat.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Megan, for joining today. Thank you, everyone on the call. It was so lovely to have time with you. Hope everyone has a great rest of the summer, and we will see you soon.
Nice to meet you all. Thank you, Roberta.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks, everyone. Thanks for being here. If something in this episode landed with you, feel free to pass it along to someone who might need it too. You can leave a review, subscribe, or just keep tuning in. We're figuring it out together. And remember, your story, your voice, your becoming, it all matters.